I
Good
start.
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all back again in the third series lecture this week. And the first week we talked about discoveries and the stories related to some very interesting discoveries. Then the second week we talked about disasters, some stories related to various disasters that took place. And today we will be talking about stories related to forensic sciences. So if so, Prerna, shall I start?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Please stop presenting. Yeah. I request everyone to not touch your screens and refrain from presenting. So, I start. And I apologize at the outset for any technical glitches at my end because, as I told in the beginning, there is some problem with the Wi-Fi network today. So, if at all there are some disruptions in between, I would really apologize for that. And with that, I begin sharing. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
It's visible.
Okay, fine. So today we start. Prerna, are you also able to see the invites that people are sending to get admitted?
Ma'am, no, I'm not able to see that.
Just a second. Okay. So we'll start with Tales to Tell, Aao Sune. And today, chemistry in forensic sciences, the past and the present. But before I start with my lecture, there is a disclaimer that I would like to say. Yes,
Ma'am,
yes.
actually, I'm using Google Meet for the first time. So may I please know if I can like bigger the screen a little? I can like keep it on the Zoom more.
You,
The screen is very small.
yeah, I'll tell you what, you will see my name coming up on the screen, which will be Dr.
Yeah,
Tripti
I can
Kumari,
see it.
your presentation. Please spin up. When you click on that
I
icon
pinned
below
that
that
up, but
name,
the screen is too small to see.
why don't you auto rotate your phone? That is the best possible way. Why don't you auto rotate your phone? Then obviously the landscape format of the phone will be used.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So before I start with a disclaimer, and the disclaimer says that the purpose of this lecture is purely to enlighten you about the finer nuances of forensic sciences, to tell you how science और ये जो हमारे पास अलग-अलग techniques आई, अलग-अलग analytical techniques आए determination के, उन techniques को use करके हमने कैसे क्रिमिनल केसेस को सॉल्व करा और उन केसेस और हमने जस्टिस को रिस्टोर किया. So basically the purpose of this lecture is to enlighten you and is to make you aware, but it in no way we are trying here to tarnish you with criminal activities or with any sort of crime, and it is primarily aimed to make you well informed. And ये मैंने यहाँ पर इसलिए डाला है so that you must understand that somebody who is involved in justice restoration, somebody who helps in solving criminal cases, जो बचाने वाला है या जो जस्टिस एस्टैब्लिश करने वाला है, वो हमेशा जस्टिस तोड़ने वाले और मारने वाले से बड़ा होता है. So with that disclaimer, I would like to start with the presentation. Before that, I request everyone to please turn off their audios so that there is minimum interference. Please turn off your audios. Yeah, thank you so much. So there was an article in India today in 2018 which said that the advanced techniques in forensic science played a vital role in solving the Kotkai gang rape and the murder case. Now this was a case in 2018 in Shimla, where a 16-year-old girl was gang raped and she was murdered and she was thrown in the forests of Shimla. After a lot of resistance, I mean, after a lot of public, sentiments, the case was handed over to the CBI. and the case was handed over to the CBI by the High Court of Himachal Pradesh. And when CBI intervened, they went to the site, they took samples of they took samples of various types from the crime scene, and after they took these samples, they collected around 250 blood samples of the people from nearby areas. जो भी लोग उस जंगल के आसपास रहते थे, उन फैमिलीज के 250 फैमिलीज का ब्लड सैंपल लिया गया टू टेस्ट फॉर अ मैच.
Excuse me, ma'am, you're not audible.
Is involved, so that was the reason why they took 250 samples.
Ma'am, are you there?
I think there is some technical glitch because she's saying
Yeah.
internet problem is there. So let her resume the things again. She'll repeat the things.
There are two important techniques, which is which was the lineage sampling, the lineage test, and the second was the percentage test. On the basis of the lineage test, lineage का मतलब होता है genetic ancestry. So actually the people who had committed crime, and because it was a gang rape, the people who had committed crime had fled off the Shimla city, and they were not to be found anywhere around. Now on the base, that is why जो families का DNA CBI ने लिया, उस DNA का DNA of the crime scene में कोई मैच नहीं मिल रहा था, because family वाले निर्दोष थे. But then what the forensics people did was that they did a percentage test and a lineage test, and on the basis of the genetic ancestry they found out that this is the particular family जिसके थोड़े से जीन्स आपके क्राइम साइट के जीन्स से मैच करते हैं. नाउ यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट फादर और मदर का कंप्लीट जीन्स बच्चे में ट्रांसफर नहीं होता है. There is only a partial segment which the child takes from the mother, a partial segment which it takes from the father, and the child has a completely sum of its own body. खुद अपना कुछ नया बनाती है. बट जो वो पापा और मम्मी से जो थोड़े बहुत जीन्स आए, वो जीन्स उनको lineage test में पकड़े गए, and those families were asked. When they were inquired, it was found that there were some people in the family who were absconding, who were not there, and finally the CBI was able to catch hold of those people, and they finally confessed in front of the CBI, and the case was solved, and there were 6 people involved in the gang rape and the murder of this girl were all convicted. So and this is just one of the hundreds and hundreds of cases which has been solved currently with the advanced techniques in forensic sciences. ये केस मैंने particularly इसलिए बोला कि डायरेक्ट मैच होने
apologize. I think there is some technical issue at Tripti ma'am's side. She is trying one more time. So we request if the session will not run smoothly today, we'll reschedule it for the Monday. So because there is no point कि हम बीच बीच में फिर सिग्नल ब्रेक होंगे, तो Tripti ma'am was trying कि last time अगर ये ट्राई करके देखते हैं, अगर ये अभी स्मूथली रन हुआ तो ठीक है, otherwise we'll continue this session on Monday. So I think this is fine with everyone because there is no point then again बीच बीच में.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes,
Thanks for your cooperation. So Tripti ma'am, you can try one more time if we find a problem. So we'll do it on Monday.
What was the last thing that I was saying, because I don't know.
Ma'am, you were telling about the case and you were telling about that काफियों में से सिर्फ कुछ ऐसे होते हैं जिसमें से that were partially
okay. I'll try again. Works fine. Otherwise, we'll reschedule it. So I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was talking about this case where I told you that exact match नहीं मिला, और exact match नहीं मिलने का reason था that the criminals had run away from the city, and then there was 2 more advanced tests were performed, which was the percentage test and the lineage test. And the lineage test is primarily to detect genetic ancestry, and therefore genetic ancestors का जब पता चला, जब parents के genes थोड़े बहुत DNA वाले जो crime scene के genes से there was some partial match, then it was understood that these families are there, people from these families are in a way involved in the case. So then the CBI investigated it further, and finally the 6 people who were involved in the case were caught and they were convicted. So not only this case, the 2018 case, but there have been hundreds of such cases where advanced forensic techniques have helped us solve the case and something which started in the 1850s. Forensic sciences started in the early 19th century, somewhere around 1830s, 1840s ke around. So something that started in the early 19th century has gained such a vital importance today is the beauty of this whole discussion. And this has been made possible by the advancement of new analytical and qualitative techniques. जैसे जैसे हमारा साइंस आगे बढ़ा, अलग अलग चीजों को डिटरमिन करने की बहुत प्रिसाइज और बहुत एग्जैक्ट टेक्निक्स आई, और उन टेक्निक्स के मदद से ही आज की डेट में हमारी फोरेंसिक नॉलेज और हमारा फोरेंसिक और एनालिटिकल एडवांसमेंट्स इतनी ज्यादा बढ़ गई है that we have been able to broaden many fields into which forensics has been applied. तो forensics सिर्फ DNA के क्षेत्र में ही नहीं यूज हो रहा, but there are many other fields in which currently we are using forensic sciences. Am I audible? Hello, is it fine with everyone? Is it going well?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Please keep your audios off is the only request that I will make. Okay, so now new methods have offered great sensitivity. Sensitivity का मतलब क्या है कि अगर बहुत थोड़ा सा भी कोई चीज प्रेजेंट है तो वो चीज हम डिटरमिन कर सकते हैं. Even if something is present in minute quantities, we have today been able to determine the amounts and to determine whether it is present or not. देखो determination 2 टाइप की होती है. एक होती है qualitative determination, जहां पर हम सिर्फ ये बताते हैं कि this thing is present or whether it is absent. और एक चीज होती है quantitative determination. Quantitative means how much it is present. जैसे आपने अपना ब्लड टेस्ट कराया है कभी, तो ब्लड टेस्ट में एक टेस्ट है आपका ब्लड ग्रुप बताना, तो ब्लड ग्रुप इज अ क्वालिटेटिव टेस्ट, जहां पे आप सिर्फ ये बता रहे हो कि आप A+ हो, B पॉजिटिव हो या O नेगेटिव हो. एक होता है क्वांटिटी बताना, तो क्वांटिटी जैसे मेरे ब्लड में कितना शुगर है, तो दैट अमाउंट यू आर फाइंडिंग आउट. for people who suffer from diabetes, we are finding out the amount of sugar in blood. So you are determining the amount, and that is a quantitative analysis. So we have been able to do sensitivity, which is basically qualitative, कि अगर एक कतरा भी किसी चीज का present है तो हमारे पास वो methods है, वो instruments है जिससे हम वो बता सकें, और अगर बहुत छोटे amount में present है तो भी हम बता सकते हैं. And it has been this impact of forensic sciences जिससे अब crime involvement में the evidences coming from forensics are now admissible in courts. Otherwise, long back these evidences were not admissible in courts because they were doubtful. People said that we do not believe in these evidences because they were not very concrete. The technology behind it was not very concrete. लेकिन अब जो हमारे पास टेक्नोलॉजी है, जो हमारे पास केमिस्ट्री और अलग अलग मेथड्स के जो the techniques hai, they are so foolproof that now these forensic evidences are admissible in courts, and an example being the Kotkai gang rape case which I discussed. So forensic science has helped us immensely in the restoration of justice, and a very important point is it is such an elaborate field that it is not possible for me to cover everything about it in just a 1-hour lecture. In fact, you have full-time courses by universities in India as well as abroad who offer a full-time course in forensic sciences, whether a BSc or an MSc or a diploma course. So today what I'm going to do is to just give you a trailer, just give you show you a movie sort of a thing, so that you understand कि forensics में है क्या हो सकता है, and what was the history and the various stories related to it. So when we talk about forensics, the most important thing we have 7 forensic science laboratories in India, and it was important to show because we talk about India here. So हमारे पास Central Forensic Science Laboratories हैं, which we call as the CFSLs, and the CFSL works under the Ministry of Home Affairs, and it is a government of India undertaking. So we have a total of 7 forensic laboratories in India, in Hyderabad, Calcutta, Chandigarh, Chandigarh, New Delhi, Guwahati, Bhopal, and Pune. The Hyderabad laboratory is most sound in chemical sciences. जो Hyderabad वाला है वहाँ chemical sciences का that is the best. Then you have the Kolkata laboratory, which is the oldest, and it is the most it is impeccable in biological sciences. And then you have another one in Chandigarh, and we were fortunate to have to pay a visit to the CFSL Chandigarh laboratory, and it excels in physical sciences. The laboratory which you have in Delhi is basically under the CBI, and whatever cases the CBI is assigned with, it is the CFSL New Delhi which investigates those cases on the basis of in collaboration with CBI. So in totality, you have 7 different forensic laboratories in India, which we know as the CFSLs. Okay, and this is just to tell you about the numerous courses which we have in forensic sciences. A lot of universities in Australia, US, UK, Denmark offering these courses. Then you have BHU in India, Kurukshetra University. Then you have Institute of Forensic Science in Mumbai. You have the Institute of Forensic Science in Pune, the Osmania University in Hyderabad, and many more are offering various types of courses in forensic sciences. This is just for your basic information. Now let us go to the stories, to the historical background of forensic science. Now, what happened? There was this person. His name was Monsieur Lafarge, and Monsieur Lafarge was poisoned. He was poisoned by his wife using arsenic. Now, arsenic actually बहुत पुराने time से, before Christ period से arsenic has been a very favorite poison in Roman times. And since this is a case about France, so France and Rome we know, therefore this person, Monsieur Lafarge, he was poisoned using arsenic by his own wife, because they had some, it was a very unhappy marriage, and the wife had poisoned this fellow, and he was cremated as in he was buried, because these are, they are Catholics, so they bury. So he was buried. Now, there was there was a case against the wife where the wife was prosecuted of having killed the husband because there were a lot of witnesses, a lot of local people had seen the wife buying a lot of arsenic. तो आर्सेनिक लोग तब खरीदते थे रैट्स को मारने के लिए, तो दुकानों पर आर्सेनिक क्या मिलता था, तो बट शी वाज बाइंग आर्सेनिक ओवर एंड ओवर अगेन. सो पीपल, witnesses who saw her buying or the shopkeepers, they came up in the court against her ki probably this woman has poisoned her husband. But the woman's lawyer, he dismissed all the witnesses because he said that these witnesses they are non-competent, इनकी बातों का कोई भरोसा नहीं है. And the case eventually started going in the favor of the wife. Now what happened, the judge was so much he wanted a proper trial in this case, and what he did was that he invited Matthew Orfila, very important person. He is known as the father of toxicology. He was a professor in Paris University. He's the father of toxicology, and he was called all the way from Paris to give his opinion on this case. As I've written here, he's called the father of forensic toxicology, and in 1840 he gave the expert testimony in the French arsenic poisoning murder case. There are a few people, so I'll just admit them, and I think I won't be admitting anymore because it's already 4:30. So what happened, these people, so this person was called, and this person, he did a demonstration in front of the judge, and he showed that indeed Monsieur Lafarge was poisoned with arsenic. In fact, आपको ये जानकर हैरानी होगी कि जज ने लाफार्ज की बॉडी ग्राउंड से निकलवाई, because the case had to go for a proper trial and there was no evidence. People said he has been buried, so how do we get tissues from his body, how do we get samples from his body? The judge ordered the exhumation. Exhumation का मतलब होता है उसको कब्र में से बाहर निकालना. The judge ordered the exhumation of Lafarge's body. Samples were taken by Matthew Orfila, and on the basis of those samples, Matthew Orfila in the court, in presence of the judge, performed a demonstration, and he proved that indeed this person was poisoned, and after that the wife was convicted. So toxicology is the study of poisons, as we all know. अगर किसी को जहर देके मारा गया है, अगर phenyl, जहर and pesticides, these are various things which become toxic weapons. Last class में मैंने आपको बोला था nerve agents के बारे में, और nerve agents के बारे में मैंने बताया था compounds which have a organophosphorus bond, and you people told me that organophosphorus is carbon phosphorus linkage. तो आपके Baygon, hit spray, इन सब में organophosphorus होते हैं, and they are all poisoning agents. But this person was the father of forensic toxicology, and he testified in a French court against the arsenic poisoning. This is a cartoon showing that this fellow is the judge who is sitting with a pen and various papers in his hand to write this thing. And this is Matthew Orfila, who performed the experiment right in front of the judge. And the test which we used to determine arsenic, which he used rather, was called the Marsh test. मार्श टेस्ट में क्या होता है? सो आर्सेनिक यूजुअली जो रोमन टाइम्स में आर्सेनिक बिकता था was in this form as the trioxide of arsenic. This trioxide of arsenic is a white powder जिसको खाने में मिला के और देना बहुत आसान था if at all somebody wanted to poison someone. So arsenic was taken, that means वो उनकी बॉडी से, लाफार्ज की बॉडी से टिश्यूज लिए गए, then zinc was added and sulfuric acid is added through this chamber. Now what happens, what is the chemistry behind it? जो ये zinc है, जब sulfuric acid डालोगे तो zinc की oxidation हो जाएगी, and the electrons produced will cause the reduction of arsenic here to As3 minus. यहाँ जो arsenic है ये आपका +6 plus this is -2, so this is in plus some plus oxidation state, so it immediately goes into a minus. It goes into the As-3 oxidation state by the use of sulfuric acid. That results into the formation of arsine gas. This gas is formed. So when zinc and sulfuric acid react with the compound, it forms arsine, and arsine में आपका जो arsenic पे जो charge है, जो oxidation state है, is 3-, and it is a garlic-like smelling gas. Now when this arsine gas evolved in this tube, एंड सिंस हाइड्रोजन रिलीज होगी यहाँ पे, क्योंकि जिंक और H2SO4 मिलके जब रिएक्शन होगी तो हाइड्रोजन गैस इवॉल्व होता है, आपको पता है. तो हाइड्रोजन गैस इज अ रिड्यूसिंग चेम्बर. So arsine will finally deposit as arsenic metal, और जो हाइड्रोजन गैस रिलीज होगा वो यहाँ पर बर्न करेगा. Remember the Hindenburg disaster where I told you that hydrogen burns. So hydrogen will immediately burn, and this you see is what actually happened. There was burning. That means arsenic was being formed, और arsenic के यहाँ पर deposits मिले. So on the basis of this is the setup for March test, and on the basis of this setup and this demonstration, Orfila gave a very important testified in court, and on the basis of that the wife was convicted. The next important thing in forensic sciences came about personal identification. तो जब किसी इंसान को आइडेंटिफाई करने की बातें शुरू हुई कि अगर कोई हमारे को कोई डेड बॉडी दिखती है. yes, can we take questions?
I wanted to ask something. Can
we take questions later, please? Because I have to wind up the whole presentation.
Sure.
So the first thing, so the most important thing was when forensics started, that it was about personal identification. अगर हमारे को कोई body मिलती है, how do we identify that who to whom does this body belong? And remember, this was the time when there were no DNA samples, DNA technologies had not come up. तो किसी इंसान को आइडेंटिफाई करने के हमारे पास क्या तरीके थे उस समय? Alfonso Bertillon was a person who mentioned that we can identify a person through 5 primary measurements, which was the head length, breadth, length of the middle finger, length of the left foot, and the length of the forearm from the elbow to the extremity of the middle finger. So as you can see, yes, forehead ka naap, sar ka naap, various measurements used to be taken, and on the basis of these measurements one would say that okay, if you see a person, आपके पास उसका ये पूरा statistics बना हुआ है, तो आप मैच कर सकते हैं कि ये इंसान ये बंदा है. but it is a very tedious technique. One, secondly, it was not very accurate because measurement techniques were not accurate. They would vary from person to person. मैं अपनी कंट्री में मेरा 1 मीटर का बार जिससे मैं मेजर कर रही हूँ, हो सकता है वो एग्जैक्ट 1 मीटर बार ना हो जो दूसरा बंदा मेजर कर रहा है. So how do we maintain a uniformity? Plus, when bodies decompose, obviously the head length, the head breadth, they will all change. So how does one exactly find out personal identification? So Bertillon's hypothesis was not very successful. The next important stage came जब personal identification के लिए fingerprint examinations की बात हुई, and a very important person whose name I'm going to talk about now is Henry Faulds. Henry Faulds is credited to having performed the most early investigations, and it was this person, Henry Faulds, who said that fingerprints remain unchanged throughout the life of an individual. इसीलिए instead of using various head, body and limb measurements, why don't we just use the fingerprint examinations? So Henry Faulds, actually this person Faulds was a cousin of Charles Darwin. So when he realized that fingerprints can be a good way of personal identification, he approached his cousin Darwin and he said that let us write a paper on it, but Darwin refused because he was doing some evolution work. And then somehow there was another scientist by the name of Francis Galton who got to know about it, and he also published some very important work on fingerprints. But जो सबसे पहली बात कि fingerprints को हम use कर सकते हैं in examinations was given by none other than Henry Faulds in 1880. So as I've told you, he is credited with the first fingerprint identification, and he said that even a superficial injury of a finger does not alter the fingerprints, and the fingerprints again they come back to the original ones after some time. And this was a paper which was published in Nature, a very renowned magazine. It's a very blurred paper because it's a very old one, but this was a paper published in Nature, the contributions of Henry Fald and Galton. Okay, the next person, तो हेनरी फॉल्ड ने तो ये बताया कि फिंगरप्रिंट्स को पर्सनल आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए यूज किया जाए, एंड ही आइडेंटिफाइड फिंगरप्रिंट एज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. बट इट वाज सर एडवर्ड हेनरी who in 1901 first time proposed the fingerprint classification scheme. क्योंकि फिंगरप्रिंट्स आप अगर आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए यूज करते हो तो यू जस्ट डोंट गिव वन फिंगरप्रिंट, बट देयर आर वेरियस स्कीम्स बाय विच और वेरियस टाइप्स इन विच योर फिंगरप्रिंट्स हैव टू बी टेकन. सो द फर्स्ट फिंगरप्रिंट क्लासिफिकेशन scheme was set up by Edward Henry. He was the Inspector General of Police in the lower provinces of Bengal. He was in India, posted then because we were under British rule. So he was working in Bengal, and he appeared before an inquiry committee to convince everyone that let us use fingerprinting instead of the Bertillon's method. And he also published a book, and after that this is an identification order number. ये 1934 का एक document है, March 12 1934, where a person, John Dillinger, has been these are his fingerprint samples, and he was wanted by the FBI, wanted by the United States investigation and the justice firm. So again, the credit goes to Sir Edward Henry, who established the first fingerprint classification scheme. Then the next important person in the field of forensics comes Edmund Locard. अब Edmund Locard ने बहुत important बात बोली जिसको हम बोलते हैं the principle in forensic science, and he was the one who said that every contact leaves trace. This is a very important principle in forensic sciences, where we say that every contact, if I touch a surface, then I leave my prints on the surface, but I also take back the prints from the surface in my hand. So every contact, it is an exchange principle. That is why it is called the Locard's exchange principle. And he said that burglars will leave traces of their presence behind, and they will also take some traces with them. So it is an exchange process. So they leave hairs from their body or fibers from their clothing behind, and they may take carpet fibers or may take any other fibers away from them. So this concept that every contact leaves trace is a very important principle in forensics, was first proposed by Edmund Locard in 1910. He was a French officer, in fact, and is known as the father of criminalistics because he was also a police officer, and he's also credited to have established the first forensic laboratory in the world. पूरे वर्ल्ड में सबसे पहली forensic laboratory फ्रांस के लियोन में 1910 में establish की गई by Edmund Locard, and he became the director of that laboratory. So this is Locard in his laboratory in which he established in Lyon, France, where he was serving as a police officer. Now, the next thing came about body fluid samples, और इससे एक बहुत important story related है is the Mad Carpenter story, or we also call it the Ludwig Tesnau case. The person, Paul Uhlenhuth is the person who has been credited with the first distinction. ब्लड है तो वो ब्लड ह्यूमन ब्लड है या वो ब्लड एनिमल ब्लड है. अगर मुझे एक कपड़े के टिश्यू पर ब्लड दिखता है, how does one certify that blood is an animal blood or it is a human blood? And how did this whole case come into picture? In Germany, so Paul Uhlenhuth was a German. So in Germany, there was this person, Ludwig Tesnau. He was a carpenter and he was accused of murdering 2 children. But he said that, oh, see, I am a carpenter. तो इसके जो कपड़े से जो stains मिले थे, उसने बोला the red stains which were obtained from his clothes. He said that these stains are wood dyes. This is not blood. This is wood dye. And that time we did not have any method by which we could differentiate a dye from blood or an animal blood from human blood. He said किसी cattle का blood लग गया होगा, मैं जाता हूँ कैटल पे, उनको लकड़ियों को लेकर आता हूँ, तो कैटल का ब्लड लग गया होगा, या ये कोई वुड डाई है, बट इट इज नॉट अ ह्यूमन ब्लड. It was Paul Ullenhuth who testified in this court and who provided concrete evidences to to say or to differentiate that the blood was on his clothes was human blood and it was not any animal blood. And as a result of his testification, Ludwig was murdered and executed in 1904. सो पॉल उलेनहूथ ने क्या बताया, और ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ब्लड एनालिसिस के लिए. ही सेड दैट डिफरेंट एनिमल्स, डिफरेंट मैमल्स, दे हैव डिफरेंट ब्लड प्रोटीन्स. ओके, वी ऑल नो हमारे अंदर ब्लड है और हमारे अंदर ब्लड के एंटीजेंस और एंटीबॉडीज होते हैं. क्या एक रैबिट के भी ब्लड में वही एंटीजेंस और एंटीबॉडीज है? क्या एक हेन के ब्लड में भी वही एंटीजेंस और एंटीबॉडीज है? क्या एक हाथी के ब्लड में, एक डॉग के ब्लड में भी वही एंटीजेंस एंटीबॉडीज है? No. The answer is no. So if there is a cloth on which there is blood, you have the, उस समय तो ये भी नहीं पता सकता था कोई कि ब्लड है या नहीं. अगर ब्लड है ये पता चल गया तो आदमी का ब्लड है कि जानवर का ब्लड है ये कैसे पता चलेगा? तो इसको Paul Ullenhuth ने बहुत अच्छे से डिस्टिंग्विश किया. He said that blood of various species contain various proteins and on the basis of that we can distinguish between a human blood and an animal blood. मैं बहुत क्विकली बताऊंगी कि होता क्या है. So आपके ह्यूमन ब्लड के कुछ एंटीजेंस होते हैं और ह्यूमन ब्लड के कुछ एंटीबॉडीज होते हैं. अगर आप एक अगर मीडियम है, यू नो देयर इज अ जेल बेस्ड मीडियम, अगर आप ह्यूमन ब्लड के एंटीबॉडीज और ह्यूमन ब्लड के एंटीजेंस को एक साथ रखोगे ना, तो दे विल मूव टुवर्ड्स ईच अदर बिकॉज दे आइडेंटिफाई ईच अदर. वो एक दूसरे को समझते हैं क्योंकि वो दोनों सेम स्पीशीज से आ रहे हैं. सो दे मूव टुवर्ड्स ईच अदर एंड ऑन द प्लेट यू सी अ थिक प्रेसिपिटेट बीइंग फॉर्म्ड एट द सेंटर. बट इफ यू टेक द ब्लड, द एंटीजेंस फ्रॉम अ ह्यूमन blood and the antibodies from a rabbit's blood and you put them together, then they will not diffuse towards each other because they do not understand each other. So on the basis of this precipitant technology, this technology is called precipitation or precipitant technology, Paul Ullenhuth was able to say that the blood was of animal and not of the blood was of a human and not of an animal. So यही मैंने यहाँ लिखा है. The test is performed in the semi-solid agar-based medium where antibodies and antigens they diffuse towards one another and they form a line of precipitation. तो अगर precipitation हो रहा है मतलब the blood is मतलब वो human blood है और अगर नहीं तो नहीं है. So he wants to add now. So I'll show you a small video in reference to this, and for that, so this technology that we are talking about is called the precipitant technology, and I'll just quickly go through the precipitant technology and show you what it means. So just give me a minute. Yes, are you all able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
whether it's human blood or whether it belongs to some animal. And we can use is injected into a rabbit.
So what he is doing is you take out blood from human beings, withdraw blood from a human being. You inject it into a rabbit.
Reacts to the presence of the human blood.
अब जो rabbit का immune system है वो human blood के against react करके human blood वाली antibodies produce कर लेगा.
It produces antibodies against those components in the human blood. So serum from that rabbit's blood can then be used as the test reagent. For instance, if we take our suspected human blood and treat it with the rabbit serum.
तो आपने रैबिट का सीरम लिया जो जिसने ह्यूमन ब्लड के अगेंस्ट एंटीजेंस डेवलप एंटीबॉडीज डेवलप कर ली हैं और आपने एक सैंपल लिया जो सस्पेक्टेड है कि ये ह्यूमन ब्लड का सैंपल है या ह्यूमन ब्लड है. तो आप इन दोनों को जब मिक्स करोगे तो आपको एक प्रेसिपिटेशन मिलेगा एट द इंटरफेस ऑफ द टू लेयर्स. So the human blood gives a precipitant band with sensitized rabbit serum.
Sign that there is an interaction. If the two interact, then it proves that the sample is from human blood. This is usually done in a gel.
So this is, you have antibodies and you have antigens.
And then using an electric field,
so they start coming close to each other.
They are induced to migrate towards each other.
Because they identify each other, they are from the same species.
Between the antibody gel and you know that it's not human blood after all, is important. It has been used. Christopher Nuds.
So this is another case. Did Christopher Nuds kill Fred Moss? This is another case जो precipitant technology को use करके solve किया गया था. You can read more about it on the internet. I'll not get into that. So I'll just go further with my presentation. So I hope you've understood the precipitant technology where तो अगर तो मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा कि ये blood rabbit का नहीं है और human का है? अगर वो ह्यूमन का ब्लड है तो उसके एंटीजेंस और एंटीबॉडीज विल मूव टुवर्ड्स ईच अदर, दे विल आइडेंटिफाई ईच अदर, एंड द टेक्नोलॉजी व्हिच वी यूज व्हिच डिफरेंशिएट्स ह्यूमन ब्लड फ्रॉम एनिमल ब्लड इज द precipitant technology, which was first proposed by none other than Paul Uhlenhuth. So next going to अब ब्लड है, पर सपोज मान लो उसी, अब मुझे ये कैसे पता है 4 लोग हैं और 4 लोगों का तब तक क्योंकि ब्लड ग्रुप्स की बात किसी ने नहीं कही थी, तो ह्यूमन ब्लड है ये समझ आ गया. लुडविग वाज कन्विक्टेड बिकॉज इसने बोला कि जी ये तो मेरा ब्लड नहीं है, ये उन बच्चों का ब्लड नहीं है जिनको मैंने मारा है, ये वुड डाइज है या ये एनिमल ब्लड है. तो इस केस में तो आपने बोल दिया, आपने एक डिस्टिंक्टिंग फैक्टर बता दिया और आपने बताया कि ह्यूमन ब्लड इज different from animal blood. But what about human के ही अंदर? How do you differentiate between various blood samples? Now that work, very commendable work, was done by Karl Landsteiner, and it was he who first gave his conclusions, which led to the identification of 4 different blood groups, A, B, O, and AB. So, and you know, it is credited to his work that blood transfusions became possible in medical history. So, Karl Landsteiner's work was a remarkable work in the history of forensic sciences, because he said that अगर मेरे पास किसी टिश्यू पे, किसी क्राइम सीन पे ब्लड है, तो मैं अब ये भी बता सकती हूँ कि वो ब्लड ए ब्लड है या बी ग्रुप का ब्लड है या ए बी ग्रुप का ब्लड है या ओ ग्रुप का ब्लड है. सो दैट ऑल्सो, दैट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट discovery was done by Karl Landsteiner. But still, after all this, also the blood tests were always very deceptive. हम फिर भी बहुत 100% surety के साथ नहीं बोल पाते थे in the 19th century. Today, however, we have the DNA in human chromosomes mapping. So on the basis of these red blood cells are RBCs. RBCs के अंदर भी आपका DNA है और उस DNA को आप लिफ्ट करते हो, फिर आप उस इंसान के DNA से मैच करते हो, and the DNA in human chromosomes has led to dramatic improvements in forensic sciences. So as I told previously also, that it is, whatever understanding we have has matured mostly in the past 50 years because of various technological advances. जो 50 सालों में हमने साइंस में, हमने टेक्नोलॉजी में एडवांसमेंट्स करी हैं, उसी से ये सब संभव हो पाया है. And we have been achieving unbelievable sensitivities, and it has helped us examine even minute or trace quantities जो human eye को नहीं दिखाई देती थी. Now the various branches of forensic sciences, I'll quickly go through this, is pathology. Pathology is to study the cause of death using autopsies and postmortems. And forensics में, as I told you, बहुत सारी branches हैं, and you can specialize in any of the branch. It is not important that you only have a science background. You can also have a psychology, psychiatry background, and you can still expertise in forensics. So you have a pathology which determines the cause of death through autopsies and postmortem, and a very important word is rigor mortis. Rigor mortis is mortis का मतलब होता है mortal death, okay, and rigor is tightening. So it is basically the tightening of the muscles after death. So by determining the time of rigor mortis, and by doing various postmortems, one can clinically say the time of death. Then you have toxicology, is, as I told you, poisoning with a lethal substance. अगर आपको toxicology में interest है, किस type के substance से किसी को मारा गया, whether it is arsenic, whether it is a radioactive substance, whether it is hundreds of lethal substances out there. So what is the cause of death, if at all it is caused by a toxic agent? Then odontology is the dental examination, दांतों का examination करके उसका forensic science में बताना. Another very important science which talks about insects. Can you imagine insects? आपकी dead body के आसपास कौन से insects हैं और किस type के insects हैं? That can tell you the time and the location of death. So entomology is insects in and around the human remains to determine the time and location of death. That is forensic entomology. So if you have done your backgrounds in biology, अगर आपको biology में interest है and you want to get into forensics, you still have an option. Serology is a very important branch in forensics. Serology का मतलब है the study of body fluids. And what are your various body fluids? Pasina, okay, sweat, saliva is a body fluid, blood is a body fluid, semen is a body fluid. So you have various types of body fluids, and all these body fluids the study of these body fluids comes under the category of forensic serology. Then psychology is the psychoanalysis. Psychology has come up as a very important branch these days because you have social psychology, clinical psychology, and all these branches are also playing a very important role in understanding the psyche or the psychology of a criminal, and on the basis of that psychology, able to confirm that this person can be a criminal or he cannot be. So that is clinical psychology. Then psychiatry is mental illness, document examination you have all heard of, which relates to forgery, duplication, handwriting analysis. Photography, अगर आपको photography में interest है और अगर आप photography की minute details देख के पहचान सकते हैं, you can have a career in forensic photography sciences. कोई फोटोग्राफ ग्राफ्टेड है, बनाई गई है या रियल टाइम है, वो सब स्टडी करना. देन फोरेंसिक एंथ्रोपोलॉजी इज अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, जहां पे आप स्केलेटन्स को स्टडी करके, एंथ्रोपोलॉजी इज द स्टडी ऑफ स्केलेटन्स. सो स्केलेटन्स को स्टडी करके you are able to find criminal cases. अब कई बारी सपोज ऐसा हो कि 100 साल के बाद एक डेड बॉडी डिकवर हुई, तो वो बॉडी में तो कुछ बचा नहीं है except that it is only a skeleton. So on the basis of that skeletal analysis, what can you say about the death? What can you say about the person who has died? What can you say about the circumstances of death? And so on and so forth is forensic anthropology. Then taphonomy is the study of how organisms decay and they become fossilized. Then you have technology, engineering. Arson investigation is a very important field. जो कहीं बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हुआ तो उस बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट में कौन कौन से केमिकल्स यूज हुए और उन केमिकल्स में क्या था, क्या एक्सेलरेंट्स था. एक्सेलरेंट मतलब कोई चीज जो धमाके को बहुत ज्यादा एक्सेलरेट कर दे. So did it also use some volatile accelerants and whatnot? So that is under arson investigation. Then you have ballistics. Ballistics is the guns and the bullets match. And since I visited the CFSL Chandigarh laboratory, as I told you, they showed us these wonderful machines, in which you can take a bullet और आप ये एग्जामिन कर सकते हो कि क्या वो बुलेट एक पर्टिकुलर गन से फायर हुआ है या क्या वो बुलेट उस पर्टिकुलर गन से फायर नहीं हुआ है. So on the basis of the bullets that you obtain at the crime scene and on the basis of the gun, you can say that there is a ballistic match. A ballistic match means ये बुलेट इसी गन से निकली है, क्योंकि हर गन की निकलने वाली बुलेट की पहचान अलग होती है. And this you can visually see in the microscopes if at all you study about it more. Chemistry, of course, is a tremendously implied field. Compound कौन से present हैं, drugs, hazardous chemicals, blood sampling, and lots of things highly dependent upon chemistry. Then DNA profiling and fingerprinting is another branch which is totally biology based. And then you have forensic geology and whatnot. And today, in today's world of cyber crime, we have a new branch in forensics which is called digital forensics. So digital forensics में mobile phones, आपके कंप्यूटर्स, नेटवर्क, आपने कोई क्राइम किया तो आपने कौन सा नेटवर्क यूज किया, कौन सा आईपी एड्रेस यूज किया, लाइव फोरेंसिक्स एंड डेटाबेस फोरेंसिक्स, all these come under digital forensics. So if you have interest in computers and if you think you have very good knowledge of computers, then this is another field, digital forensics, where you can get into. So some early cases which were cracked with the help of forensic evidences, and ये कुछ बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग केसेस है, क्योंकि मैंने अभी आपको बहुत सारे ब्रांचेस बताए. अब मैं आपको इन केसेस के थ्रू बताऊंगी कि इनमें से कौन सा केस किस चीज से सॉल्व हुआ था. So there is a very important case of Ted Bundy, who was also known as Theodore Robert Bundy, and he was wanted by the FBI. In 1970 के दशक में Ted Bundy was responsible for around 30 plus murders. He had committed 30 से ज्यादा murder he had committed, and there was no physical evidence which would connect him to the crime scenes. So no prosecutions could be made, and he was not being able to, he was not convicted, and he was highly wanted by FBI because he had committed more than 30 plus murders. And you know how he was caught hold of? Through bite marks which were evident on one of his victims. तो इसके किसी एक victim पर इसके bite marks थे, and there comes in forensic odontology, the dental examination. So on the basis of the, you know, this is the teeth mark of on the victim's body, and his teeth match was taken, and you can see there is an exact match between the way his teeth were and the teeth of the victim. So on the basis of this particular case, he was caught hold of, and then later on he was convicted. He confessed to all his crimes, and he was convicted for all the 30 plus murders that he had committed. The next important case was a very important case. There was a very famous aviator, Lindbergh. Lindbergh का ये 20 महीने का छोटा बच्चा था, very small boy, 20-month-old boy. You see, the description is the boy is only 20 months old, and this boy was kidnapped. And the boy was kidnapped, and they demanded a ransom of $50,000. The father was a rich man. You see, यहाँ पे लिखा है ना $50,000. Have $50,000 ready. Okay, so in the bills of $20, इसके डॉलर के बिल्स में इतने पैसे 10 PM तक रेडी रखना and all that. So they got a ransom note. The poor father and the mother, इन्होंने ransom भी पे कर दिया, $50,000 पे कर दिए, पर इनको इनका बच्चा वापस नहीं मिला. And a few days later, the boy was found killed and found thrown in a place nearby. And eventually the police was investigating the case. Of course, the police was investigating, and later on it was found, it on the basis of this ransom note and the first usage of handwriting analysts to match the handwriting of the accused to the ransom notes. So the role of documentation forensics coming into picture, where the handwriting analysts match the handwriting of the person with the person in reality, and he was convicted. Although the boy died, but nevertheless this Lindbergh was convicted, and he was thrown into prison. The next important case was the Atlanta child murders. Now, the person is Wayne Williams. This person killed 3 साल के दरमियान इसने 29 murders किए. He killed mostly children, around 22-25 children and a few adults, and there was no evidence at all. और ये क्या करता था, ये kill करके he used to throw the bodies in the rivers. तो क्या हुआ, एंड देयर वाज नो एविडेंस, किसी ने इसको बॉडीज को फेंकते हुए, इसको मारते हुए कुछ नहीं देखा. बट ये कैसे पता चला, जब ये बॉडीज सारे बच्चों की निकाली गई, सारे विक्टिम्स की बॉडीज निकाली गई, तो इन बॉडीज के ऊपर फाइबर्स मिले. Okay, fibers of their hands being tied, or some other types of fibers, some dog fibers, dog के जो बाल होते हैं वो इन बच्चों की अलग बच्चों की बॉडी पे अलग fibers मिले. And the police was investigating the case. You won't believe, in the house of Wayne Williams they found an exact match of all the fibers which were found on the victim's body. So fibers found on the victims' bodies, and all those fibers, इसके पास एक कुत्ता था, उस कुत्ते के बाल और victim के ऊपर जो बाल थे उनका exact match, DNA match and everything, and therefore this person was convicted for the murders of 29 people, and he was, you know, for how many he was convicted by United States for 48 life sentences. 48 life sentences मतलब 48 बारी मरना, मतलब एक लाइफ सेंटेंसेस वंस यू डाई। 48 लाइफ सेंटेंसेस तो हो भी नहीं सकता है, पर उतना स्ट्रॉन्ग इसके अगेंस्ट कन्विक्शन था that he is thrown into prison till 48 deaths. Another very important case, which is the Howard Hughes hoax case. Now, Howard Hughes is a very interesting case क्योंकि इसमें एक अलग टाइप का forensics evidence use हुआ. This is the person Clifford Irving. ये Clifford Irving ने क्या किया? He said that he went to the McGraw-Hill publishers. You know, McGraw-Hill is a very famous publishing house. So he went to the McGraw-Hill publishers and he said that I want to Howard Hughes was a billionaire. तो उसने बोला, इरविंग ने बोला कि हार्वर्ड ह्यूग्स जो बिलियनर है, इसने मुझे बोला है कि तुम मेरे ऊपर किताब लिखो. तो but he won't speak to anybody else. He is only talking to me, and this is the letter that he has sent to me. उसने एक forged letter produce किया. Clifford Irving, you are authorized to offer my autobiography to McGraw-Hill or any other publisher on the terms to which we have agreed. Most sincerely yours, Howard Hughes. Now, this is not a letter written by Howard Hughes. He wrongly went to the publishers. Publishers से इसने $7.5 lakh ले भी लिए किताब लिखने के लिए, and he started and he thought कि ये तो बात कभी पता नहीं चलेगी, मुझे $7.5 lakh रुपए मिल भी गए. In the meanwhile, Howard Hughes got to know about this. जब हार्वर्ड ह्यूग्स को इस बात का पता चला तो उसने इमीडिएटली मैकग्रॉ हिल वालों को फोन किया कि यू नो व्हाट द हेल आर यू डूइंग, दिस इज नॉट, आई नेवर आस्क्ड इरविंग टू राइट माय ऑटोबायोग्राफी एंड हाउ हैव यू गिवन हिम द राइट्स टू राइट माय ऑटोबायोग्राफी एंड व्हाट नॉट. तो मैकग्रॉ हिल वाले परेशान हो गए. एक तरफ ये डॉक्यूमेंट दिखा रहा है कि मेरे पास हार्वर्ड ह्यूग्स को उन्होंने मुझे चिट्ठी लिख के बोला है, एक तरफ एक बंदा है जो फोन करके कह रहा है कि मैं ही हार्वर्ड ह्यूग्स हूं और मैंने तो कभी किसी को नहीं बोला कि मेरे पर ऑटोबायोग्राफी लिखो. On the basis of Howard on the phone call, the spectrographic voice print analysis, which is the spectrographic analysis of the voice, the pitch, the tone, the frequency. There is an extensive analysis of voice, pitch, tone and frequency. Physics से relate करते हैं कि हर voice की frequency कितनी है, उसका amplitude कितना है, हर वॉइस में टोनालिटी कैसी है, वो सब फिजिक्स से रिलेट करके दे क्रिएटेड अ मैप एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द मैप दे रियलाइज्ड दैट जो बंदा फोन पे था वो असली हार्वर्ड ह्यूग्स था एंड दिस लेटर वाज अ फेक लेटर एंड दिस पर्सन क्लिफर्ड इरविंग वाज थ्रोन इनटू प्रिजन अगेन. So another story is fingerprint, where the Night Stalker was caught because of fingerprint. But fingerprint तो हम सबको पता है बहुत अच्छा evidence है. 1985 में ये पहली बार as an evidence काम आया. And fingerprint का match मैं इसलिए यहाँ emphasize कर रही हूँ because the computer systems had become एडवांस. उस समय 1985 में कंप्यूटर्स आ चुके थे और फिंगरप्रिंट्स को मैच करना किसी भी नोन पर्सन के साथ बिकेम इजियर एज कंपेयर टू द प्रीवियस ईयर्स. जब हमारे पास कंप्यूटर नहीं था, मेरे पास फिंगरप्रिंट आ भी गया तो आप सारे लोगों को इकट्ठा करो, फिर उनका फिंगरप्रिंट लो, फिर उसको मैच करो, was a tedious task, but computer systems made it very, very simple. Another example is this person committing a lot of 48 separate murders in 82-83, पर इसको कभी कोई कन्विक्शन नहीं हुई क्योंकि कोई एविडेंस नहीं था. इट वाज इन 2001. तुम सोचो 80 के बाद 2001 में इस बंदे को डीएनए एविडेंसेस के बेसिस पे ही वाज कन्विक्टेड एंड 2001 तक हम उसको कन्विक्ट नहीं कर पाए थे. दैट इज द एडवांसमेंट एंड द ब्यूटी ऑफ फोरेंसिक टेक्नोलॉजी दैट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. And another case, which is the BTK case, which was very talked about in between 1974 to 1991, which was bind, torture and kill another fellow. ये बहुत एक a very well renowned person who was committing these crimes, and the data about him was obtained फ्रॉम फ्लॉपी डिस्क, कंप्यूटर की डिलीटेड डिस्क से. सो साइबर क्राइम एंड कंप्यूटर टेक्नोलॉजी उस समय आ चुकी थी और उसके डिलीटेड डेटा को रिट्रीव करके his conviction was confirmed. And another case is the John Jubart's case, जहाँ पे rope के fibers से match हुआ था, and so on. So these are a number of cases on the basis of which people have been convicted, and how different cases came up and they were used as evidences in court to convict people. Prerna, do we have time?
We have time, ma'am. We do have time. We can continue.
Okay, so it's only a few more slides. तो मैं some quick chemical test पे जाऊंगी, क्योंकि अब आपको बहुत सारी कहानियां सुना दी, क्या हुआ, कैसे डेवलपमेंट हुई. So let us quickly go to the chemical test. Now the most important, blood हम सबको fascinate करता है. So a very interesting test. These are called the presumptive tests. Presumptive tests mean tests which which are preliminary. Please turn off your audios. Tests which are preliminary. Preliminary मतलब जब आप किसी क्राइम सीन पर जाते हो तो आप सबसे पहले बिल्कुल कंफर्मेटरी नहीं बता पाते कि ये ब्लड किसका है या क्या है. So you do a preliminary test, and the preliminary test tells whether there is a possibility of blood or not. So very important preliminary test is also called the phenolphthalein test. हम कहते हैं phenolphthalein आपने सुना होगा, अगर आपने acid base titration सुनी है तो. For those who haven't, you will learn in your higher classes. But this test is also known as the Castle-Meyer test. And the Castle-Meyer test में आप phenolphthalein देते हो. जब phenolphthalein HB, hemoglobin के presence में आता है. Hemoglobin is blood. So when phenolphthalein comes in the presence of hemoglobin, and hemoglobin has iron acts as a catalyst. It converts the reduced form of phenolphthalein to the oxidized form, and the oxidized form of phenolphthalein is pink in color. So in the presence of blood, a drop of phenolphthalein changes into pink color, and that is a preliminary test for the detection of blood. So as I said, the iron in hemoglobin promotes the oxidation state of phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein जो पहले reduced form में था उसको oxidize करता है, phenolphthalein बनाता है, और ये phenolphthalein is pink in color. And thus we can preliminary say, या हम कह सकते हैं कि शायद यहाँ blood है. Another test is the luminol test, which is also used to detect blood at crime scenes. And luminol produces luminescence. So lumin का मतलब आपको पता है glow करना. So luminol is luminol test is a test which starts glowing, and this is actually the compound luminol. But the problem with this test is, and this again is a preliminary test, because ये blood को तो answer करता है, blood में glow करेगा, पर bleach, feces में, मतलब toilet and उसमें urine में, और इन सब compounds के साथ भी it shows interference. So that is why it is called a preliminary test. It is not a confirmatory test. So what happens? You have a molecule here which is your luminol, and in the presence of a catalyst, in the presence of something like blood, where you have iron acting as a catalyst, it converts into a dianion form. ये देखो यहाँ एक minus charge और यहाँ एक minus charge आ जाता है. That leads to extensive conjugation in the molecule. This is excited state, and this comes down into the ground state. और जब excited से ground state में molecule आता है तो light release होती है, और ये light जो है ये आपका glow करता है. तो luminol test is also a preliminary test for blood detection, but as I again said, it may be answered by other things also. तो अगर आपको preliminary sample crime scene पे luminol से glow मिल रहा है तो it gives you an idea कि यहाँ पर blood है, और आप उसको confirmation या confirmatory test के लिए ले जा सकते हैं. The confirmatory test for blood is, there are many more tests. I have just given one, is the Takayama test, or it is also called the Teichmann test. Takayama reagent ऐसे बनाते हैं, आप NaOH लोगे, उसमें आप pyridine डालोगे और ग्लूकोज का सैचुरेटेड सोल्यूशन डालोगे और डिस्टिल्ड वाटर बना लोगे. तो ये 4-5 चीजों को मिला के आपका टाकायामा रिएजेंट बन जाएगा. देन यू टेक द सस्पेक्टेड स्टेन, जो आपको लग रहा है कि शायद ये ब्लड है, आप उसको लो, उसमें 1 ड्रॉप ऑफ टाकायामा रिएजेंट डालो, एंड देन यू विल सी दैट डार्क पिंक you heat the slide on a low flame, you will see dark pink needles appear, and the presence of these dark pink colored needles confirms the presence of blood. I'll not show you this video because I think I'll cover it quickly, but chemistry in banking is a very, very important sector. Banking में आप केमिस्ट्री कैसे यूज करते हैं? सो व्हाट हैपेंस, ये जो आपके जितने भी इंक्स हैं, जो करेंसी नोट्स पे इंक्स हैं, दे आर स्पेशल क्वालिटी इंक्स. जो चेकबुक पे जो इंक्स होते हैं, दे आर स्पेशल क्वालिटी इंक्स. एंड ऑल दीज इंक्स, because of their special quality, they glow in the UV light. So if you put a check which is suspicious to be forged, अगर उस check को आप UV light में डालोगे तो जो it will glow in a proper pattern. That pattern can be seen on the computer and it can be understood. If it glows in a different pattern, या अगर वो forged है, then it will not have those special markers which are visible in the UV light. तो UV के ना ऐसे machines बनी होती हैं, उन machines के अंदर UV light होती है. आपने check डाला, and then it will give you वो check का जो भी image है वो आपके computer से connected होते हैं, because these are high end instruments. So it goes into the the image will come on the computer, and on the computer you can see that what is a forged signature. या कई बारी 20,000 रुपए को किसी ने 20 लाख बना दिया तो वो चीज नजर आएगी, because there will be a difference in the inks used. And even if तुम same pen का भी use करोगे तब भी इतना प्रिसाइज होता है ये, क्योंकि हर इंसान का जीरो बनाने का भी तरीका अलग है. मैंने जीरो बनाया तो मैंने रुक रुक के बनाया, तो देयर आर ब्रेक्स इन द पेन. तुमने जीरो बनाया, तुमने एक लाइन में खींच के बना दिया, देयर आर नो ब्रेक्स. सो एवरीथिंग विल बी डिफरेंट, एंड इट इज सच अ ब्यूटिफुल मेथड. On the basis of UV visible spectroscopy, one can determine whether it is a forged check or whether the signature is forged, whether a document is forged, and whatnot. And as I again told you, ये सब बहुत डिटेल्ड ब्रांचेस हैं और मैं आपको सिर्फ एक ओवरव्यू दे रही हूँ. And since we're talking about forgery, there is a movie which I will recommend you all to see. It is a movie by DiCaprio and Tom Hanks, a wonderful movie, is Catch Me If You Can, and it is based on forgeries. And actually ये real life story पे based है of the story of Frank Abagnale, who was a con man, who was he used to forge checks, और पूरी जिंदगी ये forge करता रहा checks, और इसने FBI और CIA और सबको पागल बनाया, बेवकूफ बनाया, just because of his utter his techniques of forgery were so brilliant and beautiful. And finally he gave up that forgery. He went to the police and he said, okay, I have done enough of it and I don't want to do it anymore. And he was later on hired by the FBI itself. FBI ने बोला, अगर आप हमारे लिए as a consultant काम करोगे तो और उन लोगों को पकड़ने में मदद करोगे और या उन चेक्स को देखने में मदद करोगे जो फोर्ज्ड हैं, क्योंकि इसको खुद इतना अच्छा नॉलेज था कि ये दूसरों को पकड़ने में मदद कर सकता था, then we will give you some liberty from your conviction. And he later on became Frank Abagnale, who is now a FBI consultant. This is the real person, former Catch Me If You Can con artist who has now turned into an FBI consultant. So it's a must watch movie. Catch Me If You Can, please go and do watch it. It will tell you a lot about how forensic forgery is can be उससे कैसे बच सकते हैं और कैसे उसका on the other side how it is done. And last but not the least, this one more slide is the techniques in forensic science. आपके पास आज की डेट में, क्योंकि मैं केमिस्ट्री की बात कर रही हूँ, तो माइक्रो केमिस्ट्री है जिससे हम केमिकल कॉम्पोजिशन छोटे पार्टिकल्स का निकाल सकते हैं, माइक्रो केमिस्ट्री. देन यू हैव थिन लेयर क्रोमैटोग्राफी. थिन लेयर क्रोमैटोग्राफी से आप ये बता सकते हो, ब्लड के वेरियस कंपोनेंट्स को सेपरेट कर सकते हो. अगर ब्लड में ड्रग्स हैं तो उनको सेपरेट करके बता सकते हो कौन सा ड्रग है कौन सा नहीं है. GC एंड मास स्पेक्ट्रोमेट्री इज गैस क्रोमैटोग्राफी, मास स्पेक्ट्रोमेट्री. Again, for volatile substances like paints, pigments, colors, उनका स्टडी और एनालिसिस करके बताया जा सकता है. सपोज कोई बम धमाका हुआ और उसमें केरोसिन ऑयल यूज किया गया, तो वहां केरोसिन ऑयल था या नहीं था, ये आप GCMS से बता सकते हो. हाई प्रेशर लिक्विड क्रोमैटोग्राफी इज अनदर टेक्निक फॉर डिटेक्शन ऑफ ड्रग्स. देन अल्ट्रावायलेट स्पेक्ट्रोफोटोमेट्री जैसे मैंने आपको बताया बैंकिंग में यूज करते हैं, एंड इट इज ऑल्सो यूज्ड इन आइडेंटिफाइंग डीएनए सैंपल्स. एनएमआर स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी ऑल्सो. मेटल्स का अगर आपको जैसे बुलेट फ्रैगमेंट्स है, बुलेट गिर के उसका एक छोटा सा टुकड़ा गिर गया तो मेटल है ना, लेड है, तो उसका आपको एग्जामिनेशन करना है तो एटॉमिक अब्जॉर्प्शन स्पेक्ट्रोफोटोमेट्री है. देन यू हैव एक्सरे एनालिसिस टू इन्वेस्टिगेट फॉरेन ऑब्जेक्ट्स विद इन अ बॉडी. You have a Grice reagent which can find out traces of lead around bullet holes. Then अगर आपके पास कोई फिंगरप्रिंट है जो नहीं दिख रहा है तो आप उसको निनहाइड्रिन एजेंट से डेवलप करके देख सकते हो. Occult fingerprints are visible by ninhydrin. Then you can use cyanoacrylate esters to make fingerprints visible, laser light to make fingerprints visible. और अगर आपके पास बहुत कम सैंपल है ब्लड सलाइवा का तो आप इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस करके और उसके कंपोनेंट्स को सेपरेट कर सकते हो. एंड इस केस में सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट केसेस में मैं स्पेशली बताना चाहूंगी कि सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट केसेस में सपोज द सैंपल दैट यू गेट फ्रॉम द क्राइम सीन इज वेरी वेरी स्मॉल, डीएनए सैंपल, ब्लड सैंपल, हेयर सैंपल, स्किन सैंपल, सीमेन सैंपल इज वेरी वेरी स्मॉल. देयर इज अ रिएक्शन विच इज कॉल्ड पीसीआर विच इज पॉलीमरेज चेन रिएक्शन. इस रिएक्शन से हम डीएनए का अमाउंट बढ़ाते हैं, क्योंकि आपके पास अगर माइक्रोलीटर में सैंपल है उतने सैंपल में से डीएनए कोई भी नहीं निकाल सकता, आपको सैंपल बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. एंड द ओनली वे बाय विच we can enhance our DNA sample to bring it within the range. क्योंकि फोरेंसिक्स में ये बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, आपको कितना सैंपल मिला. अगर आपको बहुत कम सैंपल मिलता है तो आप खुद सोचो आप उसमें कैसे डिटरमिन करोगे. यू आर गेटिंग सैंपल्स इन माइक्रो रेंज, you will not be able to determine it. So DNA samples are amplified by the use of polymerase chain reactions. And there is न्यूट्रॉन एक्टिवेशन एनालिसिस जो यूज करते हैं आर्सेनिक पॉइजनिंग में, स्पेशली आजकल इसको यूज किया जा रहा है. इनफैक्ट आर्टिक एक्सप्लोरर एक था जो आर्टिक के बर्फ में ही इन 1870s ही वाज फाउंड बेरिड इन द कॉफिन ऑफ आइस, और सबको लगा कि आर्टिक में है तो बर्फ में दब गया, ये बंदा मर गया. बट एक्चुअली बाय द हेल्प ऑफ न्यूट्रॉन एक्टिवेशन एनालिसिस इट वाज फाउंड दैट दिस पर्सन did not simply die in the ice, he was murdered with arsenic. सो आर्सेनिक से मार के और वो आर्टिक में वो बर्फ से घिर गया, बट स्टिल दैट कुड बी डिटेक्टेड बाय द यूज ऑफ न्यूट्रॉन एक्टिवेशन एनालिसिस. द चैलेंजेस इन फोरेंसिक्स इज, मैंने सबसे बोला सैंपल साइज, बहुत कम सैंपल है, बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. मनी, रिक्वायर्स अ लॉट ऑफ मनी बिकॉज यू नीड गुड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स एंड यू नीड अ लॉट ऑफ ब्रेन बिकॉज यू नीड गुड साइंस. इट इज ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई भी बंदा उठ के चला गया CFSL के पास कि जी मेरा केस है, मेरा केस आप फोरेंसिक एग्जामिनेशन कर लो. नहीं, वो भी नहीं कर सकते. इट हैज टू गो थ्रू प्रॉपर चैनल. देन टाइम, इट टेक्स टाइम. इट इज नॉट ड्रॉप ऑफ द हैट. आज आपने आप एक क्राइम सीन पे गए, कल आपने सैंपल उठाया, परसों आप बता रहे हो कि हाँ ये बंदा कल्प्रिट है. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता. इट टेक्स टाइम. Then you have to confirm your evidences with other circumstantial evidences. बाकी जो evidences मिले हैं उन सबको जोड़ना है. Bureaucracy, yes of course, इतना आसान नहीं है conviction करना. So there is a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of various things involved in that framework, and of course the admissibility of the evidence that you are using in courts. So what is the evidence, what is the surety of that evidence, what is the reproducibility of that evidence. reproducibility का मतलब आज मैं बोल रही हूँ हाँ इसमें आर्सेनिक है, कल मैंने दूसरे सैंपल के साथ टेस्ट किया, मैं बोलूँ नहीं इसमें तो नहीं आया, फिर परसों आज भी नहीं आया, फिर चौथे दिन आ गया. तो ऐसे टेस्ट नहीं एडमिसिबल होते कोर्ट में. वो टेस्ट जो रोज कर रहे हो और रोज आए. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने एक दिन एनालिसिस करा और उस एक दिन के एनालिसिस पे आपने लिख के दे दिया और किसी को कन्विक्शन हो गई. इट इज अ रिपीटेड एनालिसिस व्हिच इज डन ओवर मेनी सैंपल्स ओवर मेनी डेज, एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट entire conclusive evidence you say that okay, we say that this and this evidence is involved. So that is and I'll conclude with this person we all know is Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. Yasser Arafat की हिंदू में एक बहुत फेमस आर्टिकल थी which said that he was poisoned, he was allegedly killed by poisoning with plutonium, which is polonium, which is a radioactive element. His body was also exhumed, taken out from the coffin. In fact, पता कैसे चला? इनके toothbrush पे, इनके bed sheet पे, इनके undergarments पे there was a lot of radioactive सैंपल. तो सबको लगा कि इतना रेडियो एक्टिव सैंपल कहाँ से आया इनके घर में और इनके रोज की यूजेस में. एंड इट वाज alleged, it is there is no conclusive evidence, forensics have said, but since he was a very very renowned leader, it is alleged that he was poisoned by polonium. And there was an article in the very famous national daily The Hindu in 2013 which says in memoriam with polonium, where they say that the Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat was allegedly poisoned to death using polonium. So with that, I'll thank the planetarium and Prerna and Ratna ma'am, and thank you all for your patience. This is my phone number and my email IDs in case you wish to feedback, and thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing such integrated information in a story format. So it's always interested to know such more details about chemistry, and after so much effort you put to come online by your so low Wi-Fi signal, luckily we got this session completed on the set date. So now we can
I have quiz also if we have time, otherwise we can conclude the meeting and then
no, definitely we can have the quiz, because quiz is the best way out to get the feedback of the kids, how they understand. And then we can also take some of the question, because someone was interested while you were presenting the presentation.
Yes,
meanwhile, some girl wanted to ask something, so we can first take the question and then we can have the quiz, and then we can wrap up the session. So anyone would like to ask something? Anyone have something to comment on, or they have some information which they can share with us? So we are open to that.
Please go ahead. Anyone?
Ma'am, shall I share an anecdote of my exposure to forensic science?
Yes, please go ahead.
Will be great. Please.
Ma'am, when we were small, I am right now 15 years old. So when I was around 7 or 8 years old, on Sony Plus, there was a show called CID, and there was a lot of forensic science.
That show was also there when we were young. So that has been a show which has been going.
My first interest in forensic science, and since then I have been very interested in it.
Very good. Very good. You know, and as I told you, ये तो बस मैंने बोला जैसे ट्रेलर है, मैंने कुछ भी नहीं बताया, आप ऐसा समझ लो कि इतना डिटेल्ड है. हर एक ब्रांच इज अनदर a full segment of study. I mean, chemistry is different from ballistics is different from engineering is different from technology, all different branches. It's a huge field and a lot of scope these days in India as well as abroad.
Anyone?
Yes,
anyone is interested to share their opinion about the forensic, or they have something to ask? Tripti ma'am se aap puchna chahte hain, to they can take, and then we can quickly
or
take the
you can give me your feedback also.
Yes.
No feedback means nothing.
Excuse me, ma'am, I have to say something.
Yes, Ishana.
Ma'am, once in the National Daily in the Indian Express, I saw a headline which was stating that forensic science always comes second and eyewitness account comes first. Ma'am, why is this so in a criminal case?
Actually, as I told you, the कौन सा evidence आप use कर रहे हो, that, and I told in my concluding slide also that it has to be always confirmed with circumstantial evidences. अब एक केस में सबसे जरूरी चीज, अगर आपको आई विटनेस मिल जाए तो then there is nothing beyond that. You don't need an evidence. Okay, if someone testifies that testifies in court against somebody, and we say, or somebody says that this person is an eyewitness, then that is the biggest proof that one has. And these evidences, forensics and all these evidences, they come into picture only when जो आपके प्रूफ, बाकी जो प्रूफ्स है उससे कुछ नहीं मिल रहा. That is why not every case goes into forensics. Like I told you, the Shimla Kotkai gang rape case, वहां पे कुछ भी नहीं पता है, जंगल में रात के 10 बजे कोई किसी को फेंक दे, तो how does one know कि कौन था यहाँ पर? You know, there is no evidence. Nobody has seen somebody throwing a body. Wayne Williams वाले murders में भी मैंने यही बताया कि किसी ने उसको पानी में उसको फेंकते नहीं देखा. तो जब ऐसे केसेस में आपके पास कोई विटनेस नहीं है, कोई आई विटनेस नहीं है, कोई एविडेंस नहीं है, तो आप क्या करोगे? You still have to solve a case, a crime. Then what do? Then you go to these evidences, and that is why they always come. They don't come second, but they are always after the primary, human beings witness. मतलब अगर मुझे कोई ह्यूमन बीइंग मिल गया जो टेस्टिफाई करे, रोड पे कोई एक्सीडेंट हुआ और कहते हैं आई विटनेसेस सेड हाँ इस गाड़ी ने इस गाड़ी को मारा, बात वहीं खत्म हो जाती है कि आप में, और अगर वो इंसान कोर्ट में भी जाके कहने को रेडी है कि यू नो आई सॉ दिस व्हीकल हिटिंग दिस व्हीकल, there is a proof, there is an evidence, and there is nothing beyond an eyewitness. But if some explosion happens, कहीं कोई बम फट गया और किसी को नहीं पता है कि क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, it is only then that you go to forensics. And उसमें भी जो चीजें important है वो ये है कि आप जो एविडेंस यूज कर रहे हो, जो आपने प्रूफ दिया, फोरेंसिक वालों ने जो प्रूफ दिया, वो कितना रिप्रोड्यूसिबल है, उसकी रिलायबिलिटी कितनी है, क्या उसको कोर्ट में एज एन एविडेंस यूज किया जा सकता है, बिकॉज नॉट ऑल फोरेंसिक एविडेंसेस टिल डेट आर एडमिसिबल इन कोर्ट्स. So you also have to look into which is used and which is not used. For example, a lie detector test, ये forensics नहीं है पर मैं generally बता रही हूँ, is not admissible in courts. So there are many such things which are not admissible, and hence आपको फिर उन चीजों को ढूंढना है. अगर मुझे किसी को कन्विक्ट करना है तो फिर पुलिस या सीबीआई या जो भी इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है वो ये चीज ढूंढेगी कि भैया कौन सा एविडेंस लाऊं मैं जिससे मैं ये कन्विक्शन को फुल प्रूफ बता सकूं. Because then human rights is, this is legal thing is such a big thing. नहीं तो human rights खड़े हो जाएंगे कि you have wrongly convicted a person, so you just cannot go, हाँ मैंने आज evidence निकाल लिया, तुम मेरे पास आए मैम, ये लो हमारे पास आज का proof आ गया, ये blood है, चलो मैम इसको convict करते हैं. No, unless and until you have 10 such proofs and circumstantial evidences, you cannot implicate a person. So it's not easy to land up in a legal this thing.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ishana. It was a very good question because इसमें कई सारे aspects cover होते हैं, legalities and ability, legality, and lots of various other things.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I think, ma'am, we can.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Kimchi.
Ma'am, if I pursue forensic science, ma'am, is there any good scope that I would be successful? Or
See, this is a dichotomous question. इसके दो जवाब हैं. एक तो कि a lot of criminal cases are coming up these days, and if you are really good in what you are doing, as I told you, there are various branches. So if you are really good in a particular branch that you are doing, then obviously your chances, because not only in India, crime is happening everywhere, and they need people who are good. They need people who are properly trained and who can perform who can get into this. The second thing is that and the market is huge in terms of market, तो नहीं बोलना चाहिए, गलत शब्द है. The scope is huge in terms of in India as well as in abroad. I mean, I know people who have been doing clinical psychology and they are now getting into forensics. So you can be a consultant with them. मैंने तुम्हें Abagnale का केस बताया, who himself was a con artist and was taken up by FBI क्योंकि FBI forgers को पकड़ ही नहीं पा रही थी. So you have a lot of scope. That is the first thing. The second thing is, yes, you have to be like really good in what you are doing, and कुछ टाइम के बाद, अभी तो आप लोग स्कूल में हो, maybe by the time another 5-10 years, it will be a huge field. But you must pursue it only out of interest and not because अगर तुम ये सोचोगे कि नौकरी, तो नौकरी का तो आजकल नौकरी इज अ थिंग विच इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट, बट यस एवरी डे डायनेमिक्स आर चेंजिंग, सोसाइटी इज चेंजिंग. कल को हो सकता है इंडिया में we have organizations which do private detectives. We have private detectives, like you have private detectives in in UK, US and so on. हमारे यहाँ private detectives का concept बहुत sound नहीं है, या उनके कोई legal वो नहीं है, but you never know in under 5-10 years how the dynamics change. But yes, if you are interested, please go through these course, and it is a very interesting module altogether.
Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is the formula of arsenic?
Formula of arsenic has no formula. Arsenic is an element, so it is just As.
Okay, ma'am.
बट आर्सेनिक जो पॉइजन जो मैंने वो केस बताया था और फीला वाला, उसमें आर्सेनिक जब ऑक्साइड के फॉर्म में एग्जिस्ट करता है, इट एग्जिस्ट एज AS2O3. इन दैट ऑक्साइड फॉर्म इट इज अ वाइट पाउडर. तो आर्सेनिक का जो आर्सेनिक इस फैमिली से है ना, तुम्हारे नाइट्रोजन फॉस्फोरस वाली फैमिली से है. सो इट एग्जिबिट्स an oxidation state of +3. Arsenic as such is just arsenic.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Janvi, for that wonderful comment.
Ma'am, we can go ahead with the quiz so that other participants.
Students, are you all tired, or shall I go ahead with the quiz?
Ma'am, we should go ahead with the
Ma'am,
quiz.
we should go ahead with the quiz.
We should quit. Okay, those who are tired may leave, but please remember, as Prerna ma'am said last time, we request you to send a feedback. Prerna, if you could write the email ID in the chat box so that
I will do that, ma'am. I will do that.
Students, please, I will also put up my email ID in case you wish to. I would love your feedbacks. Please do that. That is my email ID. So I'll start with the quiz. Do I expect, I have 24 people here. Do I expect to receive 24 feedbacks by tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got 2 yeses. What about Akshar? What about Anya?
Yeah, ma'am. Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, so I wait for your responses. Okay, so let us start with the quiz. The quiz is only for the school students. The others may please keep quiet because I know. So, okay, Ted Bundy was an American. Give me the answer.
Ma'am, bite marks.
Bite marks.
Bite marks and what?
Ma'am, DNA evidences.
No.
Ma'am, bite marks.
Bite marks. And what is that branch called? What is that branch called?
Odontology.
Yes. Forensic odontology. Odontology is the study of teeth, the dental examination. Very good. Forensic odontology. While conducting luminol test, luminol reacts with hydrogen salts and forms a
Dianion.
dianion. You remember, दो negative charges आ जाते हैं oxygen के ऊपर, so it forms a dianion. Very good. Dash is a presumptive test for blood, while dash is a confirmatory test.
Castle-Mayer test is presumptive.
Phenolphthalein test and Takayama
Very
test
good.
is a confirmatory.
Castle-Mayer test is presumptive. Somebody said phenolphthalein is also correct. And
Takayama test is
Takayama का दूसरा नाम क्या है?
Takman test.
Very good. Very good. Okay, ये तो आपने जवाब दे दिया. Phenolphthalein test is also known as
Castle-Mayer test.
Castle-Mayer test. Okay. A reaction by which the amount of DNA sample obtained from a crime scene can be amplified is known as, what was that reaction? PCR. Very good. PCR, polymerase chain reaction. PCR. पीसीआर याद रखो, पुलिस कंट्रोल रूम याद होता है ना, दिल्ली पुलिस की पीसीआर वैन, तो पीसीआर वर्ड याद रखोगे तो याद रहेगा, ठीक है। पॉलीमरेज चेन रिएक्शन. In forensic entomology, we study about
insects.
How insects? Insects का क्या? Insect study करते हैं.
Insects around
In and around the body.
In and around the body.
Find the amount of location
and time of death.
Yes, very good. So insects around human remains tell us what is the time, what is the place of death. In fact, you know, I saw an episode जिसमें you know crabs were eating up a human dead body. It was a fictional episode, and then this person says because crabs को site तक पहुंचने में और इसमें इतना time लगता है, तो on the basis of that the time of death was estimated. The study of body fluids in forensics is called
serology.
Serology. What are the different types of body fluids?
Blood, saliva,
blood, semen,
plasma, serum.
Plasma is not a body fluid. Body fluid
saliva, blood, sweat.
Yes, so ऊपर से sweat, blood, saliva, ये सब body fluids. Okay, a person who specializes in the study of human skeletal remains within a legal context is known as
forensic anthropologist.
Very good. Anthropology याद रखोगे तो anthropologist याद होगा. First scientist to bring the account of the idea of anthropometry. मैंने ये word नहीं बताया, पर आप थोड़ा सा सोचोगे तो याद आ जाएगा. अगर anthropology humans के बारे में है तो yes.
Alfonso.
एंथ्रोपोमेट्री, मीट्री मतलब मेजर करना और एंथ्रो मतलब ह्यूमन बीइंग, तो ह्यूमन बीइंग का लेंथ, बॉडी का लेंथ मेजर करना was given by Alfonso Bertillon. Who he established the forensic science laboratory? Who is he? He established the first forensic science laboratory. Edmund Locard. Where did he establish the laboratory?
In Lyon, France.
And in which year?
1901.
1910. Okay. Who devised the fingerprint classification system as personal identification?
Sir Edward Richard Henry.
And what about the other person? Henry Faulds.
Henry Faulds
ने सबसे पहले बताया fingerprints used करते हैं. What is the forensic exchange principle?
Every contact leaves trace.
Every contact leaves trace. ठीक है, ये हमेशा याद रखना. कहीं भी कोई भी चीज टच होगी, उसका इसमें आएगा और इसका उसमें जाएगा. वंडरफुल एविडेंस. वो वेन विलियम्स वाला केस याद रखो, उसके घर के फाइबर्स विक्टिम्स पर आए और इसके विक्टिम्स के फाइबर उसके घर में पाए गए. तो एक्सचेंज प्रिंसिपल. He gave the forensic exchange principle stating that every contact leaves trace. He is
Edmund Locard.
Marsh test is used to determine the presence of
arsenic.
And the gas produced in the reaction is
hydrogen.
Arsine gas. Hydrogen भी निकलता है, वो भी सही जवाब है, वो भी मैं मान लूंगी. The gas produced in the reaction is hydrogen, which burns. Very good. Key chemicals in the Marsh test are dash metal and dash acid.
Zinc, metal, and sulfuric acid.
God, you people are too brilliant. Zinc, metal, and sulfuric acid. Lafarge poisoning was solved by a testimony of a professor of Paris. The professor's name?
Matthew Orfila.
Matthew
Orfila is also known as the father of
toxicology.
No, not forensics, toxicology. Okay. The Matt Carpenter case was the first case where Dash helped in testifying. आदमी का नाम बताओ, किसने testify किया था?
Paul Uhlenhuth.
Yeah, Paul was a German. The difference in the blood origin was given by blood human का है. No, blood origin मतलब blood is human. Yes, Paul only. Origin का मतलब human से आ रहा है या animal से आ रहा है? Blood has various types. Who said this?
Carl
Landau. Okay, the key evidence in Harvard Hughes case was, what was the key evidence?
Ma'am, the voice.
The voice.
Yes.
Voice.
The spectrographic. The spectrographic
Voice print.
इनफैक्ट आपको पता है जब आप वॉइस मॉड्यूलेट करके भी बोलते हो ना तो भी वो जो स्पेक्ट्रोग्राफिक प्रिंट है वो सेम रहता है. Occult fingerprints are sometimes visible by the use of, I told this reagent, it's ninhydrin. Okay, dash light is mainly used for observing forgery or fraud.
UV light.
Tiny samples of blood, saliva, and semen can be separated by
Chromatography.
Also electrophoresis. Chromatography के साथ साथ electrophoresis भी कर सकते हैं. CFSL is
Central Forensic
Science Laboratory. We have a total of
Seven.
CFSLs in India. Very good. Very good. A big round of applause to all of you. Perfect. So with that, we conclude.
Great. I think we have really good forensic expert now within our board. Probably in next session, some of them can present their forensic presentation with the Nehru Planetarium. So really hoping so that some of you will be expert in the relative field. So with this, we thank you so much for your patience and time. Thank you, Tripti ma'am, for sharing your knowledge. And we are really looking forward for our next session. That is the last session of this series. So we really request if you are requested, you are interested, people who are joined today are interested to join again for the next session, do write us at the planetariumprogram@gmail.com. So we'll share the login details there. And the session for the next topic for the next session will be chemistry in human body. So with this note, thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone. Students, please do remember to send your feedbacks. I'll be waiting.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It was a wonderful
My
wonderful
email
session.
ID. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wonderful to have you all here. My email ID, please note it carefully. It is not Tripti. It is TRIPTS. Okay, TRIPTS20@gmail.com.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful
Thank you, ma'am.
session.
Thank you. Thank you, Suhani, Anurabha.
ma'am.
Thank you so much, Janvi. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kimchi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashi.